Good, happy Tuesday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news this evening, so let's begin. First up, middle school girls soccer coach accused of sexually assaulting child. Alexander Waterbury charged with 4 counts of felonious sexual assault. A former coach for a middle school girls soccer team has been arrested and charged with sexually assaulting a child, police said. Alexander Waterbury, 24, of Keene, was arrested Tuesday and charged with 4 counts of felonious sexual assault and 2 counts of prohibited sales of alcohol. Police said Waterbury was a coach for the middle school girls soccer team at Monadnock Regional Middle High School in Swansea at the time of the alleged assaults. He is accused of assaulting a student under the age of 16 and older than 13, police said. Officials with Monadnock Regional Middle and High School said that as of Sunday night, Waterbury is no longer employed by the school. Police said Waterbury has coached other girls' soccer clubs in the area. Waterbury is scheduled to be arraigned Wednesday afternoon. Anyone who has information about the case is asked to call Detective Jen Turnman of the Keene Police Department at 603-357-9820. Commission set up to attract younger workers to New Hampshire. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Ray Brewer.
Trying to get pregnant, you have to eat 22 cups of spinach every day to get the iron your body needs. Let's get you nutrients by the bunch with the complete multivitamin with clinically proven absorption of key nutrients.
Using 4 pens, Governor Sununu established a commission to look for ways to keep young service program workers like AmeriCorps in New Hampshire after they finish their service. The governor wants to make sure the commission reaches out to the people who will have a hand in making sure that happens.
Work directly with, not just talk about, but really sit down with the community colleges, the universities, the high schools, our education systems to make sure that we are integrating as we should.
One of the programs bringing young people to New Hampshire is City Year, an AmeriCorps program. Managers say there is a great need for volunteers, and if there are increased benefits and options, volunteers could be convinced to stay in the Granite State.
They struggle with finding jobs right out of college, so this is a great opportunity for them to come to a state that has really good employment and great employers.
The commission will also look at some of the problems that keep young people from settling in New Hampshire and becoming part of the workforce. Some of those problems may take years to resolve.
Probably the biggest obstacle is housing and the cost of housing. For young folks, especially if they're serving in national service, they're receiving a small stipend.
The commission is scheduled to report on November 1st. The governor says that'll give lawmakers enough time to take a look at those recommendations and possibly pass legislation designed to implement some of them. Reporting live outside the State House in Concord, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Sununu criticized toxic, offensive rhetoric emanating from Washington. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Ray Brewer.
New Hampshire's governor is weighing in on the controversy in Washington, D.C. over tweets from President Trump that some are calling racist. Thanks for joining us. I'm Erin Falo. As House Democrats prepare a resolution condemning the president's comments, News 9 asked Republican Governor Sununu for his thoughts.
You know, the constant rhetoric coming out of Washington, D.C., it's toxic and it's offensive. And frankly, I think all of the American people are just fed up with it. Everything coming out of Washington lately is offensive. And I think everyone in Washington needs to really take a look at what the American people are willing to tolerate. And this isn't it. This isn't it at any level.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Nashua police investigating after cat's leg shot broken in 4 places. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
New on Daybreak, Nashua police are working to figure out who shot a cat on New Swirls Road yesterday. This is Sullivan. His owner took him to the vet for an x-ray and found a bullet lodged in Sullivan's leg. His leg is also broken in 4 places. Anyone with information should contact Nashua police.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. No shooting in a reported road rage incident, Rochester police say. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Updating a story that we first brought you Saturday, Rochester police now say that there was not a shooting during a suspected road rage incident on Walnut Street. Investigators say that 2 cars were headed south on Friday when the incident happened. Police now say that the man who was hurt was not shot. Instead, he got hurt after coming into contact with the other vehicle that was leaving the scene. Charges are expected.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Revisiting some of the best images of Apollo moon missions. 50 years after Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin accomplished NASA's goal of putting men on the moon, we look back at some of the best images from the Apollo program. Let's take a look at this video. Okay, and there you go on that video. Very cool indeed. And now let's take a look at that U.S. stock market and see how U.S. stock market closed for this Tuesday evening. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you for this Tuesday evening. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the red and went down. Your Nasdaq closed in the red and went down. S&P 500 closed in the red and went down. Gold closed in the red and went down. Oil closed in the green and went up. US 10-year closed flat. Euro/USD closed in the green and went up. And VX closed in the green and went up. Stocks slip from record high after Trump says long way to go on trade talks with China. Stocks fell from record highs on Tuesday after President Donald Trump cast doubt on the trade progress between China and the U.S. House Democrats prepare to condemn Trump's Twitter attacks against Congresswoman. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Concert was like an out-of-body experience.
Why the Yusuf Say sisters chose Verizon.
We were right in front row. Actually, Serena, you touched on Monday.
Yeah, I touched on Monday, like held my hand for a while, and then we got to meet him after, which is like
another surprise.
Yeah, love Verizon even more now. I'll never forget that day.
The network more people rely on gives you more. Like thousands of tickets to concerts, festivals, and private shows. And big savings on our best phones when you switch. That's Verizon.
Senior congressional correspondent Mary Bruce for more on this. And Mary, we know House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is going to put a resolution on the floor today to condemn the president's remarks.
Yeah, George, House Democrats are trying to send a very clear message here. They do plan to vote tonight on this resolution that, quote, strongly condemns President Trump's racist comments, saying they have, quote, legitimized and increased fear and hatred of new Americans and people of color. Now, this is largely a symbolic move, and while Republicans, some say the Democrats here are simply playing politics, Democrats say they feel the need to send that strong message and that they are trying to get Republicans to go on the record here, to force them to have to say where they stand on the president's remarks.
Yeah, Republicans have not wanted to speak out on this at all.
George, we have reached out to every single Republican in Congress, and so far the majority of them still are not commenting. And those who are offering a pretty muted response. Just a handful of Republicans here on the Hill have been willing to condemn the president's remarks. Even fewer are calling them racist. Tim Scott, the party's only African-American in the Senate, called them unacceptable and racially offensive. Mitt Romney says they are destructive and dangerous, but Mitch McConnell, the top Republican in the Senate, George, still has not said a word about the president's remarks. Now, that is expected to change at his press conference here this afternoon, but George, this just goes to show how far this Republican Party has now lined up behind the president and how loath they are to cross him.
It is his party. Mary Bruce, thanks very much.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this Tuesday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night, and bye.